I mean, other than the horrible news with Jet and him going out, that was a shock, dude.
Yes.
So 3-3-2 for the red plate holder, I believe, right? Doesn't Chase have the red plate now? Or no? No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. That's
He does, right? Yeah.
producer Aaron says yes.
Got the red plate back. Sorry. So I thought he rode well, dude. He came from behind. I mean, just watching him, he looked like he was aggressive. He had the intensity on a really difficult track. We talked about it here on the podcast already with how like it's hard to be aggressive here because it gets blue groove and slick. It's not really even though he didn't win a race, he still was the most consistent guy. And from the eye test, it was him and Tomac is who I thought looked the best or the fastest and the most intensity. What was your overall thought on Sexton and how he looked? Like, were you pumped with his riding other than he got crappy starts?
Yeah, especially I think it was Moto 1, it was a pretty bad start, and he was able to work his way through the pack. Just watching him push through the rhythm sections in the intensity, by far the most intense on the track that I saw. He was able to make quick moves for, typically sometimes Chase waits a little too long. In the past he has, but Kenny gave him a good run for his money, but Chase was just on the move. Like I said, his push through speed through the rhythm sections was very impressive. And like you said, his bike looks good. It seems like he's in a good spot. And yes, he didn't win an actual big mistake there. Missed that one in the broadcast. Two riders go right down, AP and Mookie. But look, he was able to rebound pretty quickly, get back in front of AP, and then also right past Mookie again with that mistake. So his intensity level was super high on a very technical track. Like I had said before, Phoenix or it can bite you very quickly, partly because the dirt's just so hard, it's slippery. So I was impressed. I think he was the most impressive for me. And consistency is the name of the game, especially in a Triple Crown. Yes, everybody wants to win, win the overall and also win a race, one of those three races. Mm-hmm. But in the end, he still stood on top of the podium. So and has the red plate back. So that's all you can really ask for from the team standpoint, from his standpoint. Like he knows he rode well. He pushed that bike to the limit. As we're watching Chase Sexton with the lead points lead right now, 84 points. Ken Roczen down 2, Eli Tomac down 9, and Cooper Webb down 10, Jet down 13.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that Jet was only 13 back. Honestly, it's because he had so many, like on the average, he still had a pretty decent finish. So looking back, dude, the Triple Crown straight up could be a blessing for Jet if everything is okay and it's just a stinger. 13, that's not it's flirting with the danger zone. Like for points, as you know, for the championship, but it's still you have time to make it up.
Yeah, for sure. And we have some more Triple Crowns, right? The Triple Crowns, like we've always talked, bring a whole different set of circumstances, and he's got to, obviously we're waiting to hear what situation is with the knee, but if he can come back and not have any other big mistakes, we have a couple more Triple Crowns coming up. And as we've seen, Triple Crowns produce a lot of action from just riders going down, Jet hurting his knee, things like that. So he's by no means is the red light blinking, but I think they're it's not far out. Put it that way.
No, it's not far out, but it's positive. Like this is where, dude. So role play real quick. Go back to like Juju. If that was a regular Supercross, he goes down. Yeah, he has a little bit more time to catch up, but he doesn't have time to fix it other than like whatever he catches up to is what he gets. It's not an average finish. So like an example, had Jet dabbed his foot in a regular Supercross, he loses 26 points, 25 points. So this is where it's a blessing, goes 8th overall because of the average. So it could be a blessing, not
a bad situation for what it could have been. To your point, if it was just a standard night whereas one gate drop, you lose 26 points. Boom,
dude. If that knee is good and there's no ligament damage, I know he's going to be in pain, but the feel good story would be like, dude, I'm only what 13 out of the championship. It's game on, bro. Let me get this thing healthy. And there's a lot to be positive about of what could have been wrong. So we'll see. Hopefully, dude, Cooper Webb. I think as a whole, from a championship standpoint, Coop is one of those guys. You've talked about it a couple times on the pod. He gets better as we get to the East Coast. He's not far off. He rode well on a track that is statistically his worst stadium that he goes to. And I think he's sneaky, bro. I think he's sneaky because he's
pause really quick. Aaron, go back to that start. We've made a big
what
we've talked about a lot on this show. Look to see where some of those riders were. Hit pause on that. We have there's Chase up on the inside, AP on the inside, Coop on the left side of the gate, also Anderson. Like that was a change. Eli seemed to be on the outer part, either right of the box, it looked like. We've spoke on this a lot from just myself and you, Rick, how we
pause it on the start, like before they take off.
Yeah, and we've talked about where riders line up on the gate. You can see a lot of the heavy hitters are left of the dog box here at Phoenix. And I think that was there's Eli right of the box. So just left of the box, but the farthest on the outside, Jet next to him there, Anderson. So Barsha, look at Barsha, very, very inside. We talked about that being that a hard left-hand turn. I like what I see here. Look at Coop. He was right in the middle. That's all for that angle of that start. For me, that's where I would have chosen. I'm not saying that's why he pulled the whole shot there in this particular race here, because it comes down to how you get a launch out of the gate and your reaction time and all of that. But I like what I see there. Some of those guys coming back to the inside or the left side of the doghouse. That hasn't been normal in the last.
No, it has. Even Eli and dude, like his starts, like I think Eli's pissed, by the way. We're going to get to that, but let's not talk about that yet. But I think he's pissed because he knows he has winning speed and he can't get off the gate. He talked about it. He just looks fired up. And I think RV, you know how it is. There is nothing more. I mean, there's a lot of shit that makes us really upset, but like when you have speed to win and something silly or stupid, or you mess up a start and you're like, gosh, dang it. If I would have not messed up the start, I would have won. And I feel like he's getting heated, dude, because the dude is rolling, bro. He is absolutely rolling. But I don't like that outside. He started back next to the dog box, dude.
Yep, exactly. I thought a little too far out too, but we're watching Eli here again on the replay. Looks like he didn't get the clutch release he wanted, and Jet was able to get the jump on him. And look, he's just mid pack through there and just trying to salvage.
Imagine if he starts where Chase started, and he still screws the start up. Look how far Chase is ahead of where Eli was, and I feel like for everyone that's either watching this show or listening to RV and I, that's the point we're trying to make. At least if you screw it up, you're 6th, not 11th.
Yep.
That's all we're trying to say.
I agree. I 100% agree. This is I don't know which moto this is, but Eli back on the dude. Aaron re-roll that one. He was just late on the gate. He was his throttle, his clutch release was just late. Not as aggressive. Watch. He's one of the last guys that actually leaves.
Yeah.
Gets off of the grate. So definitely has to improve on that. Because he's putting himself in not a great
lap. But what sucks is like we tell him, okay, start on the inside. He does start on the inside. He totally screws the drop, like you're saying. But then unfortunately, like what we're saying doesn't really we don't have a case because he did in that
particular one.
He was even worse in that particular one. That's not a great example, but the odds are definitely for you if you start on the inside. But then Chase messed up and they both were almost
But no
almost dead
matter
last.
where your starting position is, no matter where if you do not at least get a equal jump to your competitors on the left or the right of you, you're going to get boxed out right out of the gate. So it comes down to gate starting position for sure. Like I always like to go more to the inside than the guys today, but you still have to execute the gate drop. That I don't care if you're on the very inside gate or the very outside gate. If you don't execute the gate drop, that's where you lose the entire start right there.
Yeah. Well, hey, something funny really quick before we get to Kenny. Kellum 113 asks a question. He's like, so Coop blew me out on the podium. He's like,
it's been a rough go here in this stadium. RC said I'd be the wild card in 8th place this weekend. So yeah, man, I've heard it all week how I suck here. So everyone can shut up now.
So Kellum asks, Ricky, did you pick Webb as your 8th place wild card just to troll him, or was it a real pick? So great question, Kellum. So I was down there at press. This is right when I was like talking to you, and I was at Chad from Rocky Mountain ATV. He's like, hey, we're doing a thing, blah, blah, blah. We were getting like guys like yourself to pick who would be your wild card. And wild card tonight is 8th place. And I just happened to be looking over at Coop. And so for those of you guys who don't know, like I mess with Coop all the time. We have a fun relationship where we clown each other, right? Like I always tell him like, hey man, the throttle's on your right-hand side and blah, blah, blah. And like, I'll text him and ask him if he forgot what speed is like and stuff like that. Anyhow, so I'm sitting there and he's asking me this question. And I'm like, I look over and I saw Coop. I'm like, oh dude, this is going to be great. So I'm like, yeah, so my Rocky Mountain wild card for 8th place, because this is statistically his worst place. I'm taking Cooper Webb today for 8th. And so I walked over to Coop. I said, dude, you're my wild card for 8th place. He's like, you're an asshole, dude. Why you got to be like that? And he's laughing at me, calling me an idiot and blah, blah, blah. So of course he had to last.
I was going to say, maybe you lit the fire under him. He's going to prove you wrong, RC.
He is one of those guys, like you go and you're like, dude, what happened? You forget how to ride? Dude, you look like a beginner, dude. It fires him up. He's like, oh yeah. All right. We'll see. Yeah, Kellum, it was just fun. Just having fun. That's our relationship. Kenny did great. I feel like Kenny, like he didn't march up through the field. His starts were so. But it was a respectable ride for sure. I mean, he won race 2.
Yep.
Right? He won race 2. That was a really good save. I thought he did good. He was a little hesitant behind the 51 there on the last race. I had a good conversation with him via text, just told him, hey, good job, blah, blah, blah. And he was telling, explained to me he's pissed. He felt like he missed a couple opportunities. And, at one stage he wasn't sure that he was going to get by the 51, but then just put his head down and made it happen and beat himself up a little bit. He didn't execute some of the, like the whoops and things like that. On that run, he did well. Maybe it wasn't the whoops. I have to go back and read the text. One of the rhythm lanes, like he missed a couple times. He said that pissed him off. But I said overall, like, dude, I thought it was a great weekend for him. Again, it's so tough to win at the 450 level any year, but especially this year on a track that you couldn't be aggressive on. I'm happy with him.
Third overall, right? Third on the night.
Yeah, dude, it was good.
The points are there. So yeah, I thought it was. Did he maybe ride and execute the weekend to the best of his ability? Maybe not, but also, look at some of the carnage that was out there. It was a triple crown too. So to get a race win and then also to end, your night with third on the box, third overall. That's really, if you're looking at a 17 race series like that's perfect, right? Like there's really nothing. From a fan perspective or where me and you sit, you're like, okay, dude, that's perfect. Like, yeah, sure. We all want to win. We all want that bonus check. We all want that bragging rights. We want the red plate. But there's a lot of racing left in the season.
I think this is a lot of racing left. And I still like listening to Kenny RV. Like, it's almost like he's surprised at where he's at. And like, I almost like when I was texting, I'm like, dude, you got to believe in yourself, bro. like just like I don't know. I think it's.
He's
I
one of
want
the
to
most
see.
talented riders.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like we have more confidence in him than he has in himself, which I mean, like that was my case. There's more, my inner group had way more confidence in me than I
yeah.
had in myself. I don't know if it was the same way for you, but like, I don't know, man, you think I can win? And my people are like, hell yeah, you can.
Kenny's biggest challenge is staying in this current position that he is in at round 14, 15, 16, 17.
And that brings me to, before we go to Eli, that brings me to, so AC said this, and he knows Kenny really well. They're very close friends. He's like, hey, you know, when the conditions are good and the environment and especially like the temperatures are not super hot, like Kenny is the best. Like, gonna be very, very hard to beat him. I was looking at the weather here, and it's gonna be hot this weekend in Tampa. Luckily, there's no rain as of now, and no rain in sight. So that's great for the fans, and so it should be an awesome live event as well. But it'll be hot, so I'll be interested to see.
What's the temp looking like? What's the temp?
It's like 81 or 82, so it's gonna
Okay.
be, it's pretty warm, lot hotter than what it's been.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And for the listeners, like when you add that temperature for Supercross, just because there's no breathing areas, like we see
And humidity.
Yeah, we see extreme temperatures in outdoors, but you're going so much faster. The heart rate's high, but it's very similar heart rate when it hits its peak, but it's not the intensity that Supercross brings as when the gate drops.
That's right. Moving along, before we end the 450 review here, Eli kind of talked about a little bit, just crappy starts. I like, he's got to figure those out. He knows it too. He said it, like he's pissed. Like like I said too, like when you know you have the speed and you can't get off the gate. That's my only critiqueness that I can give on Eli. Dude, he's got to figure something out.
Yep, he's got to get off the line. He can't be spotting these guys, those positions on lap one. Speed's there. His bike's, looks like it's working well. He's arguably one of the fastest or the fastest right now. But you can't spot the guys, the amount of positions he's spotting them on the first lap. I don't care how fast you are. Like, you just can't do it. So it's going to be interesting to see what his strategy is, or what he's going to go back. He's going to put his laps in. He's going to do his practice starts. But definitely
let me ask you this, dude. And I want to stir the pot a little bit. So just going back to that third race, and I know we got to get, Aaron's going to be honest. Come on, we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but if you're Eli and you watch that third race, did you think that he would pull away from Chase? And what do you take from that moving forward? Were you expecting him? Were you expecting him to do what he did to Chase and pull out a little bit? Were you expecting Chase to hang with him? Like, walk me through that, dude.
Yeah. So I think, watching those 3 gate drops, those 3 races, and Chase's intensity in race 1, he was by far was the most intense, and like I said, pushing through the rhythm sections and riding that track to and maximizing every inch of that track. I'm not saying he wasn't tired, or I'm not saying he was tired. But maybe Eli just had a little bit more of that intensity that Chase had in race 1 and race 2. So, but looking at those two, they're both big mistake by Chase as we're watching, and that's where Eli was able to get by him. No, I think that's par for the course. Eli's one of the best guys on the track right now, and he's got to get off the gate. So, we're splitting hairs with like the top 3 or 4 riders. Eli, Chase, Jet, Hunter, like all of those top racers are so close. So I'm just going to say it again. It comes down to Eli's got to figure out the gate drops so that he can put himself in a position to race with these guys every single time.
There you go. All right. So quick little deal back to the Motorsports NBC's community poll this week. So it was tough for me. I wanted to vote for I wanted to vote for Jet Lawrence, but at the same time, I think I had to go with Triumph scores its first win. So that's what I did on the NBC community poll. Thanks, by the way, everyone. And look, I'm leaving. Everyone's moment was Jet leaves with injury. What'd you pick, RV?
I'm going to go. It's a tie for me. Cole Davies and the Triumph. It's really good to see, like I said, Jordan Smith get that win. First for Triumph, but also it's, Jordan's been around for a while now. Maybe the motorcycle hasn't, right? So they're dealing, it's different. But then you go back to Star's been around a while and has won multiple championships, but you're dealing with a very young individual. And the performance that he was able to throw out, though, those first two races, like I think you're shocked. It seems like I'm shocked, and not shocked, and it's like, oh my god, never saw this coming. Right. But how precise, I've said it on the show, how precise, how mature he looks when he's on the bike. And then race 3 wasn't really his fault, other than put himself in a bad position. That was his fault. But the tough block being pulled out onto the track by another racer, that's kind of one of those things that, that's why they have the bumper sticker where it says happens. And that's kind of what that was all about, but he put himself in that position by not executing the start.
Yep, he did. 100%.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.